This episode is brought to you by Brilliant. Click the link in the description below. I've had my Tesla Model 3 for over 2 years now, and I thought it was worth doing an updated review. How it's been working out, what hasn't been so great. Yeah, that happened. And probably the one thing that surprised me the most. This isn't the same car that I bought 2 years ago. And stay tuned until the end because I've got a special giveaway for Tesla owners. I'm Matt Ferrell. Welcome to Undecided. So right up front, I'm gonna have to call myself out. I haven't driven this car as much as you might expect for 2 years. At this moment, I only have about 7,500 miles on the car, but I can explain why. Right before I took delivery of the car, I had a major shift in my career, which took me from driving 50 miles a day to working from home. Its main use has been for road trips to visit family in New York City and upstate New York. Regardless of the homebody lifestyle that I'm living right now, there's a lot to talk about with my Model 3 experiences. My original review still holds. This is the best car I've owned, period. Or as I said in my original review, this is the best car that I've ever owned, and it's hard to not get a smile on your face when you drive it. It's built like a tank, drives like a sports car, and is one of the safest cars on the road. It's not to say that there aren't things that drive me a little nuts, because there are, like this. But I'll get to that a bit later. I'm still baffled by the choice of the nondescript door buttons on the inside of the car that require explaining to passengers how to get out, but thankfully there are cheap button labels that you can get to solve that problem, and they fixed it in the latest models. My car has the infamous trunk water issue, where when you open the trunk lid in the rain, water rushes off the lid, down the window, and jumps straight over the gasket into the trunk. They fixed that issue on the newest models, but I've still got it on mine. But driving and charging the car is fantastic. As I already mentioned, I work from home, so the vast majority of the time I'm charging here. I've been using Tesla 5 from pretty much day one to track my driving and charging patterns, so I've got some pretty good data on how much energy I've used. I've had 134 home charges for 2,183 kilowatt hours used. That's an estimated cost of $509. There have been other times that I've charged up at families' houses or free level 2 chargers out and about, so while those cost me nothing, they account for about 280 kilowatt hours of charging. And for supercharging, I've got a bunch of free miles that I've earned through the referral program, an insane amount actually, so thanks to all of you who use my referral code. But supercharging accounts for about 539 kilowatt hours at a cost that would have been about $135. That's a little tougher to calculate accurately though, because the kilowatt hour pricing has changed while I've owned the car, and it varies by location, but it's a pretty close estimate. In Massachusetts, the average gallon of gas costs $2.11. If I was still driving a car and got around 30 miles per gallon at those prices, I'd spent somewhere around $515 or more. It's not too different from my energy use, in theory, but I have solar, so the original price estimate for me is just a little bit off. The average kilowatt hour price where I live is 24 cents, but with solar, my average price during the past 2 years is 9 cents. That means charging at home would have cost me about $196 in energy, which really is not that bad. I've seen some strange numbers around my max battery level, especially when you compare my data to the fleet. My current high end at 100% charge is coming in around 297 miles versus the 310 when I first got it. The average for Model 3 owners at this period is usually around 304, so I'm off by about 7 miles. In the grand scheme of things, I'm not too concerned since it's just an estimate from the computer and it's not necessarily a real world use case. When I drive long distances, I have plenty of range. And the drop is leveled off where it is right now. The big drop happened in year 1, and year 2 has been much more steady. In fact, it increased a little bit after a software update. And that brings me to maintenance. With only 7,000 miles, I haven't rotated my tires yet, but probably will soon. It's due, but as of right now, I haven't done it. Tesla recommends changing the air filter and testing the brake fluid every 2 years. Given my driving style, I haven't done any of that yet, but I will soon. The nice thing is that those are not going to be expensive things to do. The bottom line for me is that I've spent no money on maintenance other than windshield washer fluid and washing the car. But that's not to say that no service has happened, because there have been a few issues that I've needed to deal with. After I had the car for a bit, I noticed a strange distortion in the windshield glass. It was right along the driver's side edge, about eye level. It didn't impact my view when I was looking straight ahead, but it was distracting. I also had a strange whistling noise that came from the windshield at high speeds. Tesla replaced the windshield, which solved both of those issues and cost me nothing since it was under warranty. I also had purchased the full self-driving package, so when the upgraded computer became available, I took my car in and got it swapped out. But after that upgrade, my glove box wouldn't open. So service tech stopped by the house and fixed that pretty quickly. Again, it was no cost to me, and it was right at my house. So all in, for the first 2 years, I have no cost for service or maintenance. So what's not so great? I had some nitpicks of the Model 3 in my initial review around the infotainment system bugginess, screen controls, the key card, and the door handles. Check out my original review if you want to see more details about those, but overall, the negativity I had towards those has diminished. I adapted to the touchscreen controls pretty quickly, but there were frustrations with having to tap through a few menu items to get to things like wiper controls at first. It's a common knock that you hear about Tesla's design choice of going with a single touchscreen over lots of buttons and knobs. But the con of this setup is also a positive, since they've continued to update the user interface and move elements to more logical locations based on user feedback. It's not exactly something that you can do with a button and knob design. Which leads me to my biggest takeaway after 2 years. The thing that's really shocked me the most is that this is not the same car I took delivery of at all. Tesla's regular software updates have changed almost every aspect of the driving experience, sometimes in very substantial ways. The list of updates is kind of staggering. This isn't a comprehensive list, but here are some of the highlights. Dog mode, camp mode, video games and game controller support, YouTube, Netflix, and Twitch, enhanced summon, and the car has more range through a software update. But my favorites are around things like autopilot. This was one of the big selling points of the car for me. I mean, at the time, I thought I was going to be using this for a daily commute, and we know how that worked out. But for long road trips, autopilot has made those trips so much more enjoyable. I'm less stressed and more relaxed during the trip since the car is taking care of most of the things, especially with the updates around navigate on autopilot and auto lane changing, which means the car is literally driving itself and taking the necessary highway exits. Add to that the latest full self-driving features that have been rolling out, like stop sign and stoplight awareness, updated visualizations on the screen to convey what the car is seeing and recognizing. Somewhat related to that are the improved supercharger speeds that push my charging rates up to 150 kilowatts at V2 superchargers and 250 kilowatts at V3 superchargers. And how it now warms up the battery as you near a supercharger to improve the charging rate when you start. They're both noticeable improvements when driving long distances. Now, I was hit up a lot by companies who wanted me to check out their dash cams, which is kind of a hard sell after Tesla rolled out their dash cam and Sentry mode feature that uses every camera around the car. And the much needed update that came out not too long ago that makes it possible to watch those recordings on the car's screen. And finally, as someone who just recently got a Tesla Powerwall, I was pretty excited when I saw the Tesla Powerwall coordination update come out. The car and the Powerwall now work in sync to divert power from charging during a power outage, and to resume charging if there's excess solar that the battery can't store. I absolutely love that. Now, it's not all sunshine and rainbows with these software updates. I mean, sometimes the software is very much in a beta state, like when the enhanced summon feature was first released. If you tried it when it was new, it was like watching a 3-year-old trying to drive through a parking lot. Now, while these systems do improve over time, and many of them have become extremely reliable, there's an element of caution that you have to take with these new ones, which finally brings me to this issue. And when it comes to this kind of thing, understanding the fundamentals of computer science and programming can be incredibly useful. So before I get into why my Tesla's computer stopped working, I'd like to thank Brilliant for sponsoring this video. If you'd like to learn more about neural networks and machine learning, check out the computer science courses at Brilliant. The neural network course really helped me understand why computer vision is such a tough problem to solve. Even if your neurons don't get fired up learning about computer science, they have over 60 courses including topics in logic, science, and mathematics. They teach all of the concepts through fun, interactive challenges, which help you understand the why of something, not just the how. It helps to develop your intuition, which is my favorite part about Brilliant and taps into the way I learn. Go to brilliant.org/undecided to sign up for free. The first 200 people will get 20% off their annual premium membership. Thanks to Brilliant and to all of you for supporting the channel. Now, right after I finished the first draft for this video, my Model 3 got a firmware update notice for 2020.36.11. But my car had been hanging out on 3.2.3 firmware for quite some time. Now, I happily tapped the confirmation in the app to get it started, and the next morning I needed to move my car out of the garage, and that's when I discovered that my screen was black. All of the core systems of the car worked just fine. I could put the windows up and down, drive the car, use the signals, but nothing that involved the touchscreen. I tried the forced reboot method of holding down the brake and pressing the 2 buttons on the steering wheel. Nothing. Tesla's phone support was super friendly and tried to ping the car remotely to see what was happening, but wasn't able to get a response, and that meant I had to get the car to a service center. Now I ended up driving the car almost 12 miles to the nearest service center, which was a little unnerving. Regen braking didn't seem to be working, the acceleration was slower than normal, and I couldn't tell if my signals were on other than seeing the reflection in the cars in front of me. And yes, I drove very cautiously and slowly. You can actually get apps on your phone to get a basic speedometer going, which is kind of funny. As awesome as over-the-air software updates can be, it's situations like this that are a reminder of the cons for this type of thing. In this case, something had faulted with the autopilot module, so it wasn't a software problem, it was a hardware problem, but the update triggered the failure. Your comfort level with early software builds and the rare software update snafu will play a big role on your opinion with this. I've had things go wrong in other cars too that I've owned, and so this didn't strike me as a fundamental flaw with the car, it just some bad luck. The Tesla service center took care of me, gave me a loaner while they diagnosed the problem, and I got back up and running pretty quickly. Overall, this issue was just frustrating, but nothing more than that. However, it is a reminder that the amazing, ever-evolving feature set that comes with software updates is also a bit of a double-edged sword. Software updates can be a bit dicey if you like to live on the bleeding edge, and Tesla has tried to address this with a setting in the car. By default, the car is set to update on a more conservative frequency, but if you're a little more on the adventurous side, you can change this setting to advanced. When you take into consideration all of the features that have rolled out over the past 2 years, my car is a dramatically different car from when I bought it. It can do things now I didn't think would be possible at this point in owning it. Compare that to pretty much every other single car that's on the market, like my wife's Mazda 3. It's a great little car. Any guesses on how many software updates or patches it's had since she got it? 0. It's the same car it was the day she drove it off the dealer's lot. This is a fundamental change to the traditional car user experience, and something we're going to see more and more of from other companies in the future. And I know that may freak some people out, but look at this from the 10,000-foot view. My car is safer than it was 2 years ago because of Sentry Mode, updated lane assist, and accident avoidant features, and autopilot. So just like in my original review, yes, I still get a smile on my face every time I get into my Model 3, even after 2 years. It's the best car I've ever owned, and it keeps getting better, which leads me to my giveaway. Some of my favorite Tesla accessories are the Jeda Charger and the Jeda Hub, and Jeda was super generous and offered up a few goodies to give away here. So go to this URL, it's also in the description, to enter for a chance to win a Model 3 Jeda Hub or wireless charger, or one of 3 $30 Jeda discount codes. You have until November 24th to enter. And jump into the comments and share what your experiences have been with the Model 3 or the Model Y. And be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell if you think I've earned it. As always, a special thank you for all my patrons, and a big welcome to new producer Harry Inkins and Geraldine Walsh. All of your support is really helping to make these videos possible. As always, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.